For years, every team in the country has been trying to build a roster that can beat South Carolina. With the commitment of Jacy Abii, Notre Dame just accidentally stumbled upon the exact formula. This is why the Gamecocks should be worried.
Prime Field!
In the 2024-25 season, South Carolina women's basketball once again stood as the immovable force of the NCAA, a team built on dominance, anchored in size, rim protection, and control of the tempo. Their formula was simple, but devastatingly effective. Protect the paint, slow the pace, and force opponents to shoot over a wall of arms. It worked. Year after year it worked. But on the horizon emerged a new kind of threat. Smaller, faster, and far less predictable. At Notre Dame, a dynamic duo began rewriting the playbook for how Giants could be challenged. Hannah Hidalgo, the nation's steals leader and ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and Abii, a rising scorer and sharpshooter who thrived in open space. Together they represented something different. A counterpunch to the Gamecocks' empire of size. And so the question began to take shape. Can speed, pressure, and perimeter play dismantle the most dominant front court in women's basketball? South Carolina's identity begins and ends with its front court. Players like Medina Okot, standing at 6'6", anchor a rotation defined by physicality and discipline. The Gamecocks defend the rim with precision. Opponents rarely earn free throws. Even rarer an and one. Statistically, South Carolina ranks among the nation's top programs in fewest shooting fouls, fewest and one conversions, and lowest opponent field goal percentage inside the arc. Their defense is built to suffocate the paint, to shrink the floor. Teams that attack head-on often find themselves funneled into low-percentage shots, or swallowed by help defense collapsing from all angles. Every possession becomes a battle of patience. South Carolina dictates the pace, the rhythm, the terms of engagement, but their strength also defines their vulnerability. When the game speeds up and when the paint opens and the pace accelerates, their dominance can be tested. That is where Notre Dame enters the story. Notre Dame's identity under the leadership of its coaching staff and the emergence of its backcourt is built on contrast. While South Carolina controls tempo through height and half-court defense, Notre Dame thrives in chaos. Hannah Hidalgo, at just 5'6", plays with relentless energy. As a freshman, she averaged over 22 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and a nation-leading 4.6 steals per game, numbers that define not only productivity but disruption. Her defense begins offense. Each steal is a spark that ignites transition, a chance to attack before South Carolina's towering defense can set. Beside her, Abii complements the tempo. A shooter and slasher who thrives in spacing, she stretches defenders to the perimeter, forcing South Carolina's bigs to make uncomfortable choices. When the Gamecocks posts step out, the paint opens. When they sag in, the three-point line becomes exposed. Notre Dame's philosophy is simple. Use the full width of the floor, increase pace, and make every possession a test of mobility rather than mass. It's not about matching power with power, it's about making that power chase. To challenge South Carolina's half-court machine, Notre Dame must alter the geometry of the game. Spacing is the first principle. By forcing big defenders out to the arc, the rim becomes accessible through driving lanes and kick-out opportunities. Pace is the second. Transition baskets deny South Carolina the time to establish its defensive shell. And pressure defense is the third. Hidalgo's anticipation and hands generate live ball turnovers, the kind that change momentum instantly. This triad, spacing, pace, and pressure, is the modern answer to dominance built on size, but executing it demands precision. When Notre Dame succeeds, the game quickens. When it fails, South Carolina reclaims control, grinding the tempo back into its preferred rhythm. The balance between those two forces, acceleration and control, defines every meeting between these programs. History offers perspective. In both men's and women's NCAA tournaments, teams that have toppled traditional powerhouses often shared a familiar DNA. Quick guards, elite perimeter shooting, defensive schemes designed to disrupt and disorient. The formula is not theoretical, but it has precedent. From underdog teams that sped up Goliaths to tactical programs that forced dominant bigs into foul trouble, the playbook of the giant killer is well established. Notre Dame's model under a Hidalgo and Abii fits that lineage perfectly. Their potential to pull South Carolina's interior defenders into uncomfortable territory echoes past tournament upsets, where skill and speed eclipse size and stature. The question now is whether that pattern can repeat at the highest level of the women's game. The seeds of this rivalry's next chapter were planted long before 2025. In her college debut, Hannah Hidalgo faced South Carolina and scored 31 points, a statement performance against the very defense designed to stop her. Even in defeat, it revealed something crucial. South Carolina could be pressured by pace. Months later, Hidalgo's dominance continued. She earned ACC Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Tournament MVP honors, propelling Notre Dame to the ACC title and re-establishing the program's national relevance. Now, with Abii alongside her, the Irish have evolved from a single-player phenomenon into a system, a framework capable of sustained challenge. For South Carolina, adjustments followed. Integrating players like Medina Okote became essential to maintaining rim control while managing foul discipline. For Notre Dame, the challenge was psychological as much as tactical, sustaining tempo, composure, and precision against the sport's most consistent defense. Each meeting between these teams becomes less about outcome and more about evolution. Behind the drama lies data, revealing just how sharp this stylistic contrast truly is. Hidalgo's 4.6 steals per game led the nation, contributing directly to Notre Dame's top-ranked turnover creation rate. Her 60.7% finishing rate at the rim and 37.5% accuracy on catch-and-shoot threes illustrate a guard capable of scoring at all three levels. South Carolina, meanwhile, held opponents to the fewest and one conversions in the country and ranked top 5 nationally in defensive free throw rate, proof of discipline and containment. Every number underscores the same theme. Two programs excelling at opposite ends of basketball's spectrum, one defined by resistance, the other by release. It is this balance of opposites, containment versus chaos, that shapes their rivalry's future. Beyond wins and losses, this matchup represents a deeper question about the evolution of the game itself. Can basketball's future be defined by agility rather than dominance? By guards who dictate pace rather than posts who dictate position? Notre Dame's rise signals a philosophical shift, one that challenges assumptions about how championships are built. And South Carolina, by extension, becomes the standard that forces others to innovate. Every possession between them becomes symbolic of a broader tension in women's basketball. Tradition versus transformation. Control versus creativity. In this dynamic, both teams shape the future. One by defending its crown, the other by redefining how such crowns can be contested. In time, the story of Hannah Hidalgo and Abii will be remembered not only for their numbers, but for their influence. Their success, or their struggle, will ripple far beyond South Bend. If their style prevails, it could reshape recruiting priorities and coaching philosophies across the nation. Programs may lean more heavily on dynamic guard play, spacing, and pace, the tools of disruption rather than domination. For South Carolina, the challenge ensures continued adaptation, proving that even the most stable dynasties must evolve. The clash between these two programs is not just a rivalry, it is a reflection of basketball's changing identity, a microcosm of where the sport has been and where it's heading. And as the seasons unfold, the question remains, can Notre Dame's speed truly become the kryptonite to South Carolina's crown? In every era, basketball finds its balance between power and precision. Hidalgo and Abii may just be the ones tipping that balance toward a new kind of dominance.
Prime Field!